back to CBS News on this 9th of June in the wonderful year of 1967. In national news, there's a large flood of young adults in the Hague-Ashbury area who are embracing a carefree lifestyle that can only be described as countercultural. Some people are saying this is the beginning of a new era of peace and tranquility, leading some to already term the season the Summer of Love. Now we return to the headline story of last week, the war in the Middle East, with an update. Syria has agreed to a ceasefire if Israel will honor it. Before we analyze this latest issue, let's review the conflict so far. Tensions, of course, have been mounting in the region for years, with several Arab nations allying against Israel and recently mobilizing their militaries in what appeared to be in preparation for war. The militarization, hostility, and rhetoric came to a head 4 days ago on June 5th, when the Israeli Air Force launched a preemptive strike on Egypt. In an attack surprising its strength and tactical success, 80% of the Arab nation's bombers and 55% of its fighter jets were destroyed. As this was happening, Israel launched a simultaneous attack into the Sinai Peninsula and the Gaza Strip. To Israel's east, artillery from Jordan started firing on the morning of the 5th, and soon air attacks and eventually ground invasions were added to the conflict. Israel responded just past noon that day, forcing Jordanian troops out of Israeli territory and successfully isolating the city of Jerusalem by the end of the day. The city, of course, has been jointly held for over a decade, with Israel owning the western portion and Jordan controlling the east. That night, the Israelis began an attack that ended the next morning with a complete conquest of Jerusalem. Outside the city, the Jewish military also cleared the Jordan's army from the West Bank. Both of these gains in territory were ratified in a ceasefire agreement signed at 8 p.m. on June the 7th. By the end of yesterday, Israel's military had reached the Suez Canal, and President Nasser of Egypt signed a ceasefire. Reports are just coming in now of huge losses for the Egyptians, and we will keep you posted with any information we discover. We turn further northward through our latest development to Syria, one of the most ardent aggressors against Israel before the start of the war. After partially beginning the war and the activation of a mutual defense between it and Egypt, Syria has conducted mainly long-range attacks from the beginning of the conflict, intensifying them on the morning of June the 6th. At this point, the Syrians conducted several unsuccessful invasions of Israeli territory. Up to this point, Israel has not taken any drastic action against the Arab nation, and Syria has agreed to sign a UN ceasefire. This was 5 hours ago, effectively ending the war. We go now to our foreign correspondent, Savannah Ledgerwood, who is in Israel near the Syrian border. Savannah?
Thanks, Laura. As you can see behind me, the Syrian attacks have done a great deal of damage, but the guns are quiet now. The attacks are coming from the Golan Heights, a plateau belonging to Syria, which is very fortified and well defended. Despite the calm, the Israeli troops are very much on the defensive, and there is still concern. The general attitude in Israel, though, is one of pride and happiness. These people have fought off much more numerous forces committed to their destruction, and a happy ending has to feel good. Hold on a minute. Can you hear that there? We're now hearing several explosions. Just a moment. I've just been informed that the Syrian government has announced that it feels it is not bound by any ceasefire agreement. Yes, you can see the shelling has started up again. Laura, I've got to go get a safe place. I'll let you know if there are any further developments.
Thank you, Savannah, and we hope you make it through all right. Well, there you have it. This war is definitely not over. With Syria now standing alone against Israel, it seems that only time will tell if the Israelis' luck will hold out against the Arab nation, which has close ties to Moscow, and if as an ally of the United States, it will drag the West into this conflict. It is safe to say, though, that even after only 5 days, this war has completely changed the situation in the Middle East. The land that Israel has already taken is massive, more than doubling the size of the small country. The Jewish state has also severely damaged the pride of the Arabic nations, a factor that may further aggravate relations. In addition, if Israel launches an offensive on Syria, this conflict could become even more consequential for the future of this region. We will, of course, be watching this story closely. Now we go off to Jeff Renner for the weather.